Hi, I'm Captain Mike, and today we're going to do hopefully what is going to be a short video that was requested by one of my subscribers about firing Raku. And for those of you who don't know what Raku is, it's just a way where you fire a ceramic object that has a particular kind of glaze on it that is high in metallic content, and you take it immediately out of the kiln at a particular degree depending on the glaze you're using, and put it into a combustible material and put a lid on it, let it cool, and you get some really interesting metallic-like effects. This is kind of what we're talking about right here. This is they call Sunspot by Spectrum. Everybody makes this glaze. And this is not hardcore Raku. I don't have a gas kiln. I don't mix my own glazes. Everything that I have is commercial. But the glazes that I would use, they cover a couple of different types. That one that I showed you is shiny and very metallic. This little rattlesnake here is one they call Armadillo, and it wants to, wants to crack up. It can have some very nice effects. Depends on what you're looking for there. And this one has a similar metallic content, a little raccoon, only it's matte. So it's endless. The colors are endless, and the finishes are endless. Today we are going to do a piece of bisqueware that is natural clay. I have yet to try and do any Raku with this, so it's going to be interesting. This is just a regular piece of bisqueware that I cast out of commercial slip. We'll do one of those, but this was the one that interests me because I'm going to have to take this out at 1400 degrees, which is the temperature that this particular glaze matures at. It's coming out of the kiln at 1400 degrees and immediately into a container. We're going to use a little kiln here today. It's just easier for me to use. This thing fires rapidly, maybe too rapidly. I've never done a Raku in it, but I'm going to use it because number one, it's inside and it's small, and I can do this cup to start with and maybe this smaller cup. Both of these are the river clay that I had worked in a previous video. This is the stuff that I'm going to use, the glaze. Now put it on with a brush. For the standard bisqueware, I put 3 coats. For this, I put 4. It's just porous, and so I was trying to cover it. You're going to need a way to determine the temperature in your kiln. If you're lucky enough to have a kiln that has a built-in thermometer, or it's digital, that's great. Set it to whatever the temperature your glaze cures at, and fire it hard as you can go, right up 999, right up till it gets to that temperature. As I stated, my temperature is going to be 1400 degrees. I'm using this kiln also for a safety factor. It has a little on-off switch. So when I open that, before I open that door and reach in here with tongs to get this out, I flip the switch to off, and there's not an electrical hazard. If you're using an electric kiln and it is on when you open the top of the door, it's an electrical hazard. You have to be really careful. If you're insulated properly, it's probably not going to hurt you. It's going to scare the heck out of you. It's going to make a big pop, probably those sparks, and it probably ruined the coils in your kiln. So don't do it. Don't do it. Cut it off, or know what you're doing. So okay, we're going to go ahead and fire this thing up, and when it gets under 1400 degrees, I'm going to jerk it out with tongs, and I'm going to put it in this pot. It's got some paper in it, and we'll see what we've got. Okay, you guys stand by. We're going to see how fast it takes this thing to go to 1400 degrees. Okay, folks, thermocoupler tells me it's about 1400 degrees inside this little kiln, and I'm assuming that small piece is about there too. So what we're going to do is, first thing we're going to do is cut this thing off. And I have my pot, and it has paper in it, and I have my top handy. So just as soon as I open this up, I'm going to reach in there. The thing will be red hot. I'm going to drop it in here, and it's going to flame. That's what I want it to do. When I have a good flame going, I'm going to put this top on it and go outside. All right, let's give it a shot. Okay. To be quite honest with you, I don't think that pot was hot enough, but then I don't know. So there we go. That's what you do. When you get a good flame going, you just put it in the pot, let it smoke, and let me shut my door here. While this is cooling off, I'll let it cool off a little bit, and I'll put the other piece in there and fire it up. And when I come back, I can show you this piece, and maybe we can take this piece out. We're about ready to take the tree man vase out and drop it in the bucket with some paper and see how it does. This is the piece that we done earlier. It didn't do well, but now you got to understand, I'm experimenting with this river clay. I know it wasn't as red hot as I like to see the greenware, you know, or the bisqueware, whatever you want to call it, the bisqueware. I like it to be just red glowing hot when I drop it in. This wasn't, but that could be any number of things. Got a lot of soot right here, which is common on pit firing where there's a little oxygen. So probably some oxygen leaked in the pot. It wasn't sealed real good. I didn't let the flame get big enough, high enough. Any number of things. But it does have some metallic sheen on it. It changed some colors. And so I'm letting this go just a little bit higher than 1400 degrees. I checked it a while ago visually. Didn't like where it was. It's about 1420 now. I'm gonna let it cook just a little bit longer, and then we're gonna take it out and we're gonna put it in this big old pot, next size, bigger, and see what we get with that. But just for grins and giggles, I have one more small pot that's the river clay. So when I pull this one out and put it in for the oxygen reduction part, we'll stick this one in the kiln and we'll fire it up to a lot higher and see what happens. And just a real quick word before I open that up, cut it off and open it up. You can use any kind of material you want inside of a metal fireproof container. Any kind of container will work, coffee, can, whatever, as long as you have all metal parts so it won't catch on fire. But you can put leaves in here, pine straw, paper, it doesn't matter. If it will burn, you can put it in here. Get online, YouTube has got a lot of information about Raku, alcohol reduction, which interests me. I just haven't tried it yet. It's, you know, any number of things that you can do. So look and see what kind of materials might make a difference. I hadn't found anything to make a difference in what I do with my glazes, but these are commercial glazes. So let's go ahead and suit up with these really swell gloves, and we're just going to see what we got. We ought to be about 1450, and it's soaked a little bit. We're going to cut the thing off. We're going to take the pyrometer out, and we're fixing to have at it, folks. We're fixing to have a minor conflagration. If I don't drop this thing. Okay, boys and girls, I'm going outside with this thing right now. She is barbecuing just fine. We got a good flame going here. I'm gonna let it go good. Put the top on it. Okay. Last test. I run this little cup here up to about 1650 degrees, 250 degrees more than it's supposed to be. Checked it, it looks pretty good. We're going to cut this rascal off. And let's see here. We've got our little pot right here. And we're going to put this thing in. We're going to remove our thermocouple. And where are my tongs? Here they are. All right, folks, we're going to drop this rascal in here. It is hot inside and out. Okay. We're going to put it in here. We're going to really let it flame this time. Got us a really good flame going. And then we're going to top on it, take it outside. Okay. This is our little tree man vase, While that one's cooling, I'll show you how it came out. Then we'll check that one. It doesn't take long for these things to cool. One thing about Raku, at least the way I do it, what I call Raku, is that thermal shock goes out the window. I kind of wondered about that, but hey, never lost a piece of thermal shock. I dropped a couple of pieces. I want you to look at that. That is green on one side and gold on the other. The soot's on the back where it was laying. I haven't even washed this thing yet. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a success in Raku. This is kind of what you expect. A lot of metallic colors and no thermal shock. Worked great. No. Fastest it'll go up to the recommended maturity temperature on your whatever ware you're using. Grab that rascal out and drop it in some material. It'll combust, and that's it. Okay. Let me go out and get the other piece, come back and show it to you, and we'll wrap this video up. Okay, here we are. We're going to wind this thing up. I just took this out of the bucket with a paper in it and all that good stuff. I washed it off. Very, very pleased with it. That 250 extra degrees made a difference on this piece. I would imagine it's because of the clay body, what it was. It's very rough, but this clay, this river clay is porous. But I'm really happy. This is the first one. This is the second one, same clay. Get them up there where you can see them. Same clay. Just a little bit different temperature, maybe a little better oxygen reduction. And of course this is the regular slip. So that's it. I advise you to get on YouTube and look at everybody's Raku. This is my Raku. This is what I do in my electric kiln. I don't have a gas kiln. I don't have any fancy chemicals. I really wish that I had the time and the inclination to get into that, but it's a whole nother deal. But Raku is nice, and you can get a really good job with probably what you already have. And remember, I did a video earlier on Raku in the microwave kiln, and you might want to look at that. As long as you keep it small, you can do Raku in the microwave with your little microwave kiln. So give that a shot if you haven't already. And this is my little video on Raku, and I hope that it was, informative. And I'm Captain Mike, and I'm out of here.